here today. We got done with corn harvest a couple days ago. Got done with our best corn crop harvest ever by far. So we got a few days before we're going to be ready to cut some soybeans. So we're out here today planting cover crops behind our corn crop that's been harvested. If you don't know, cover crops is just a blend of seeds that we plant following our cash crop. That will grow all fall, winter, and spring, and will protect the soils that during the months that we don't have a cash crop growing on. This is not a crop that we harvest, but it's a crop that we think is vitally important to being sustainable. Now, sustainable, it seems like it's the new catchphrase out there. You know, a lot of people throw out the word sustainable or sustainability and stuff like that. Here on our farm, it's not a catchphrase. It's a practice that we really believe in. You know, we believe in producing the best crop possible with the fewest inputs possible, and with absolutely no degradation to our natural resources. And to us, or to me, our most important natural resource on this planet is the soil. The soil is where the basis of all life comes from on this planet. You know, without soil, there are no plants, which is where herbivores and omnivores and humans all get their nutrition from. It all begins with plants grown on this earth in the soil that derive energy from the sun. That's getting a little abstract, but you know, oil, petroleum, coal, you know, those are not our most important natural resources. While they are important, we can live without those. If the soil is destroyed and no plants can grow, we cannot survive that. So it is protecting the soil, making the soil better is our #1 goal on this farm. And one of the big ways that we accomplish this is by planting cover crops. You know, cover crops have a whole host of benefits, you know, from preventing erosion of the soil into our waterways, to suppressing weeds in our cash crops, to you know, infiltrating rainfall and preventing it from running off and flooding, to storing water for our crops. You know, the soil provides a whole host of functions on this earth. I'm sorry, this auto steer is giving me fits. But one of the biggest benefits that the soil can provide is it can store carbon in the soil. And we all hear about global warming, and I'm not going to talk about global warming. We all have our different beliefs on that. But the fact of the matter is that with all the burning of fossil fuels, we are putting excess carbon in there. There's no doubt about that. But the soils have the amazing ability to store this carbon, but it has to be captured and put into the soil. And the best way to do that is through plants. So you pull in carbon dioxide, take the carbon out of the carbon dioxide, and then release oxygen, back into the air. And then that carbon is then stored in the plant. And when the plant degrades, when the roots degrades, a lot of that carbon remains in the soil. So, and if you think about it, carbon is the building block of all life on Earth. And if all life on Earth begins with our soils and what can grow out of our soils, it only makes sense that it's a good thing to put carbon back into our soils. So, historically, agriculture has been conventional till, where farmers have to plow the land to plant their seeds and keep weeds from coming. Keep weeds from competing with their crops. It was only a few short decades ago that no-till became a very common practice. And no-till is basically farming, planting seeds, and growing crops without plowing the soil. However, you still got to you still have to control weeds, and in no-till this is done with chemicals, herbicides, which it's a whole lot safer for the environment than conventional till was, because you're not losing a lot of pollutants from the soil into the rivers and waterways of America. But still, about 12 years ago, we on this farm believed that there's a better way to farm. try to be more to try and be more sustainable, and really conserve as many of our natural resources as we can, and protect the natural resources that we're in direct contact with. And that's when we started growing cover crops. And over the years, we've seen some tremendous improvements in our yields, our profitability. We've seen some really tremendous impacts to our soil. Our soil has become more porous. It stores more water. We're not seeing the erosion that we used to. The nutrients that we have to apply on our land are now staying. All of them are now staying on our land. Our fertility has increased because the cover crops roots get down deep in the earth and pull up nutrients that cash crops might not get, and bring them back up to the surface where it's recycled and is then available for next year's cash crop. So even though these cover crops are another expense, it's another chore to do on the farm, what I'm doing right now is just as critical to our farming operation as what planting our cash crop will be, because these cover crops will grow for about the next 6, 7, 8 months, and will take carbon out of the air and put carbon back into the soil, which will benefit our cash crops long term. We came to the belief 5 or 6 years ago that we needed to quit farming out of a jug, and we needed to more embrace what nature gives us, what the good Lord has provided. He's provided a perfect system of checks and balances, and we as humans, with commercial agriculture, we have upset that balance by trying to add a lot of synthetic inputs into our crops. And because of that, we have done damage to the soil. What the soil can naturally provide, we're trying to buy it out of a jug to get a quick yield boost. And I don't believe that this is the way that we need to be looking at it as farmers for producing crops for the future. We need to, instead of fighting the environment and the soils and everything else, we need to embrace it, figure out how to work with it, find out how it works. And it's only been within probably the last 10 years that science has really dived down deep into what's actually going on in our soils, and have given us some answers and showed us how we can take cultural practices such as cover crops or spreading manure or a whole host of other things, and how we can use those tools, if they're managed properly, to enhance the soil, to protect it and make it viable long term. Not just the rest of my career, but perhaps my son's career, perhaps my granddad or my grandkids' career, if I ever have any. Because our food and fiber needs are not going to go down in the future. They're just going to continue to grow, and the amount of land that we have to grow all this stuff on, it's shrinking every year because of urban encroachment. So we got to do the best job we can today to protect our soils that we will need tomorrow. Because it doesn't take long to hurt the soils or destroy the soils. But once they are destroyed, it takes a real long time to build them back up. In 100 years, we've done as much destruction to the soil as it took thousands of years to build up. Come on, auto steer. Got a sensor going bad here. Maybe it's a rough field, I don't know. Anyway, we're not an organic farm, and I'm not going to really get into the benefits of or the misconceptions of organic. I'm not a believer in organic. I don't think that organic necessarily provides the best options for the consumers, considering the price. But it's out there, and I mean, there's not anything wrong with organic. But organic is not sustainable. A lot of people have the misconception that if they buy organic, they're buying sustainable. They're not. because organic food is produced mostly by plowing the land. That is because they can't use herbicides. They have to go back to tillage to plow the land to prevent weeds. And you know that you know, if you do that, if you're doing that, you're supporting the degrading our most important natural resource, which is our soil. So before you go out and buy organic or form a firm opinion on organic, do research on the subject. Don't believe everything you see on the media or Facebook or what the left-wing groups are promoting. Get the facts first. Find out exactly what is involved in organic production. What's the rules and what's the regulations? And there's a chance you might not like what you see. And then on the other hand, all of commercial big-scale farming is not evil. Even though there's a lot of farmers that don't farm the way that I do, that doesn't mean that they're bad farmers. I mean, the majority of farmers out there care deeply about the land. But we all have an opinion about what the best way is to proceed. I firmly believe in the way that we're doing it. But there's a lot of other farmers that do it differently, and they firmly believe in the way that they're doing it, and they're doing their best to protect the soil and to provide the highest quality crops at the lowest cost possible while not damaging the environment. They believe in it. So, just wanted to